Afternoon. How are you guys doing? Welcome to the Hardworking Parents Club Podcast with me, Curtis Leong, and
RJ Horner.
thanks, RJ, for joining us today. Happy to see you. So today's topic, we're going to talk about small savings, big impact, starting an emergency fund with just $10 a week. What do you think about that?
Listen, I know they say, put away whatever you can, put away 10%. But I can tell you that I'm putting away $10 a week. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just starting wherever you are. I think that's the idea, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So let's get into it. Like I said, it is easy for $10 a week, but some people only get paid every bi-weekly. So I guess you would put $20 per paycheck away, right? So to make the catch up.
Yeah, that's what I do. I get paid bi-weekly, so $20 per paycheck. It's a small thing I think that you don't even notice.
Oh yeah, for sure. So why do you think this matters? Why? Because life can throw you curveballs you don't even know about, right? It could be like 1 minute, last minute thing. Maybe a car won't start. Maybe something happened. You had to get new medication for yourself or your wife. You may not have a was it pharmacy plan type thing. So it might cost you a little extra than usual that you may or may not have at the time. So these little surprises will help you like be a bit safer, a little peace of mind, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep, and
so
and
just
I just had that happen yesterday. So I mean, a couple times I've had to draw on my savings,
yep.
but even just yesterday, I had to get new tires. You know what I mean? That happened out of nowhere. Like I
Hmm.
didn't plan on it. I woke up, I had a flat tire. I just
Yep.
went in to just change the tire, figuring okay, 150, $200. I'll get a new tire, but I ended up having to change all four tires because they were
Oh wow.
all worn and but I didn't plan for that, right? Didn't
Yep.
budget for that. And I didn't have enough savings for that, so I had to use my credit card. But that
Oh,
hurts the funds in the long run. So having that $1,000 buffer would have been a great help
oh yeah.
in getting my tires changed out of nowhere, out of unexpected expenses.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, basically starting a rich fund is just about being get first aid, getting started, and then being consistent at it, right? To keep it going.
Mhm.
Like you just explained, yeah, something like a car repair could throw a curveball like it did for you. But you can also do this automatically too. Did you know that you can actually use your bank to take money every 2 weeks automatically out of your account? Were you aware of that before, RJ?
Yep.
Yep, pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
my wife does most of the banking, but she sets them automatically so that like the funds get transferred without even considering where the money. And that's the thing too, because you don't see it getting transferred, right? You
yep,
don't see it happening, so you don't count that money when you look at your bank account.
yeah, for sure. It's easier because you see, it's like, hey, I can spend it. Sometimes it seems like, right? So some of the ideas that they recommend is like just cutting back on small expenses. It could be coffee, instead of having coffee every day, maybe do or 2 or 3 coffees a day, maybe one a day, or make your own type thing. Other one is like pack your
Mm.
lunch instead of eating out every day because that is very expensive, especially these days. Food costs can be quite a bit, right? Also, like some people use their spare change. They put in a jar or whatever at home. So any spare change thing, they do that. Some people find that's really useful. Rita and I did that a few years
Yep, I,
ago,
I
and yeah, it was quite a bit. It's like, what the heck? It doesn't look like much when you look at it, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, you count it up. It's like, holy crap, there's a couple $100 in
it
there.
depends on the size of the jar.
Yeah.
We use one of those 4-liter water bottles to just put
Hmm.
all of our change in, and I mean, you get like 2-3 inches of
Change.
change in there, and that could be a couple few $100. You know what I mean? Just in that small little bit. So imagine you fill that whole jar, that 4-liter jar.
Yep.
You're talking $1,000. You're talking maybe even a couple $1,000 just in change.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Another one people can do is also the roundup. I know with my Coho card, if I had set it up to round up, so say it's like $10.59, I'll round up to the nearest dollar as well, or the next dollar, whatever, round up plus a dollar. You can also do that. So that's like a random thing you don't even
Mhm.
know. You're spending money and it's rounding up automatic for you and put into a separate savings account for you with Coho. I've done that
And,
before and
and
it
if
worked
you're
well.
doing that every time you spend, right? If you're
Yep.
doing that every time you spend, and it's $37.15. Well, there's 85 cents that you're just putting away.
Yep.
right? Okay, sometimes it comes to 97 cents and you're only putting 3 cents
Yeah.
away. But because you're doing different amounts at different times, again, and I think anytime you can save without noticing it happening, right?
Right.
And so putting the change away, rounding up your dollars, taking that small change every week from your paycheck, like those are the things you don't even notice, and you're slowly starting to build up your savings account.
Right. Yeah. And if you have kids, always get them to help out too, right? Get them involved so they'd be also financially responsible when they get older too, right? Because sometimes your kids do some work around
Mhm.
the house. And here's a couple bucks. Say don't spend it all on candy. Save some, put in your little piggy bank or something like that. It gives kids an idea that they should not always spend every penny they got, right?
Mhm. And I think you do this a lot with your child. Anytime, like you work with them to
Yep.
implement new habits, right? So look, knowing that you're going to put your change in the jar, or that you're going to take that $10 out of your bank account and put it into a savings account.
Hmm.
Do that with your children, right? Show them. So you give your children your $5 or $10 allowance, and say, okay, you know what? Here's $2. Why don't we put $2 away in your piggy bank, right?
Yep.
So that they're watching you, they're doing what mommy and daddy are doing. So it gives them that incentive to keep saving every week. And as long as they don't touch it, or maybe maybe they have the birthday gift they want to buy for a friend,
Hmm.
or Christmas gifts. You know
Yep.
what? When it comes time to it, they can crack open that piggy bank and go, "Oh my God, mommy! I have $80 here. You know what I mean? What can I get?" Right? So they get
Quite a bit
excited
for a
about that
kid.
sort of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another thing you'd also do, I don't know if you get your tax refunds or some other checks of random bonus money or birthday gift money, you can also put that away too, right, as emergency fund. And also kids,
Mhm.
sometimes kids, then save the money instead of buying something right away too, right, for the birthday stuff. That's maybe help the kids
Yep.
out too. The
And
other one
and
is like,
and
and yeah, go ahead, RJ.
go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
No, I
go
was going
ahead.
to say another thing is if you have used items around the house you're not using, you can also sell those on Marketplace or whatever, and that can boost your savings as well, right? So it's another
Yeah.
idea as well.
And then on top of that, like I know you've got across the bottom of the screen is starting an emergency fund, and they say get to $1,000, right? That you want $1,000 that you can bank on for whatever reason, but there may come a time when you get beyond that $1,000.
Oh yeah, it's
Now
just
you
the
need to start
beginning.
putting that into a different account. So maybe one day you get your money working for you. That's the next step beyond the
Oh yeah,
emergency fund, right?
yeah,
Is getting your money working for you.
yeah. It's just building up the habit initially. I think is where this idea is from $10 a day or $10 a week, sorry, and then it just
Yep.
builds that habit. And then obviously after that, you can start learning how to do other investments and stuff as
Right.
well, right?
And they also say, if you get a raise,
Yep, keep
it's
that
money,
extra.
unexpected money, right? Or a
Mhm.
Christmas bonus. Put a portion of that Christmas bonus away, because this is an unexpected money that can help increase that
Yep,
savings.
yeah, yep, yeah. It gives you peace of mind, right? So that you're not like, oh, this is gonna be hard or whatever. You have that little buffer, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
Yep. So I guess move on to the next one would be this can be challenging for some people. There are some roadblocks. Some challenges people might have would be, pardon me, I don't have $10 to spare. Sometimes you just got to look at other things that you have, like maybe you have a subscription, or maybe skip a meal, takeout meal, or something in the week that maybe you should sacrifice to help your savings. Another challenge would be you might be tempted to dip into the savings, but if it's an emergency, there's a reason. Like you had the tire, that's an emergency, right? Especially this time of year, it's winter, it's pretty slippery out there, so you don't want like bald tires driving around because that can impact your life as well, right? Like you
Yeah.
hit like a patch of ice or a little
And
bit of
that's what
snow.
it's there for. That's what you're doing this for, right? Is for when those emergencies come along, you are somewhat prepared. Maybe you haven't reached that $1,000, or maybe there's not quite enough funds, right? I
Hmm.
mean, most of us have credit cards. We can put it on our credit cards. But now, if we take from that emergency fund to put it back on our credit cards, it doesn't hurt our budget quite as much. So that's the
No.
whole point of having that, emergency
Yeah,
fund.
yeah. The idea is try to use that first rather than the credit cards. Credit card has like some of them have like some crazy interest rates, right?
Yep.
So yeah, and then even though you save a little bit here and there, always try to celebrate it. Say, "Oh God, I got it my first 100, my first 500. Yay, I made my 1,000!" Right? And
Yeah.
just be like that. Don't be spending the money, obviously, but just do like happy dance or whatever it makes you feel good, right? That what you're doing is good for yourself, right?
Yeah, and then like I said, we say we're starting at $10 a week, but maybe when you cut the subscription out, when you
Yep.
cut down on your coffee intake, or your lunch is out, which, let's say you have lunch out every day, but you cut down 3 times a week, right?
Mhm.
So that you're taking lunches from home. There's like 20 to $50 that you're saving every week. So you can start to put that towards your emergency
Yep.
fund as well. So your
Yep.
emergency fund might go up to 20 or $40 a week, right?
Or
So
just throw the extra difference, even though you're starting with a 10, but then you be more creative to get more money in there
right, because
faster.
the idea is, yes, we're starting with $10, but the idea is to put away as much as you can as soon as you can. So if you can get in the habit of increasing that $10,
Hmm.
I think that's the ultimate goal
Yeah,
there.
the first goal is 1,000, right? That's what they recommend. And then after that, you can go further and, like you mentioned earlier, do other investments and stuff accordingly. But there's other parts to this too, right? There's different, like, people go on with different types of bank savings accounts, because you have more than one. You have one bank, but you have multiple accounts within that same bank, and you can actually have different money in each one, which they like, kind of the envelope system. Instead of actually having cash, you actually use the bank
Mhm.
accounts for like your bills or for whatever groceries.
You have a separate one for your mortgage, or your
Yep.
rent. You know what I
Yep.
mean? You have a separate one for savings. You have a separate one for your funds, which is your bills, your cable, your electricity, those sort of things come out of a different account. And then one, like I said, just for savings, right? So
Yep. Perfect. Uh, let's have a little dad joke here. What do you call cheese that isn't yours?
not my cheese,
Not
nacho
so
cheese.
cheese. That's right. That's pretty good. All right. So do you want to wrap this up then, RJ?
Yeah, I think we had a great discussion, and like I said, yes, we want to start with as much as we can, right? As little as we can afford.
Yep.
But the idea is to try and get to 10%. Now, I will say 10% when you're making, $1,000 a week, or whatever, even $100 to put $100 away a week, it's a challenge,
Yep.
right? But if you're
It makes
starting
sense.
to eliminate those things in your life and you're starting to put more and more into your savings, you
Hmm.
can get to that 10% a week, right? So
Hmm.
so that you are, because again, yes, we want to get that emergency fund going, but the ultimate goal is to get a savings going on that you can eventually find places to invest it and start getting your money to work for you.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, starting it may feel like another to-do list, but it's actually for your family's financial future, which is great. Just by starting at $10, it may be enough for some people. Other people might be able to put more, which is great. That's what you should be doing, because you do want to build yourself a financial safety net, and also teaching your kids a little discipline with money as well, right? Because some people may not
Mhm.
have that, and having discipline is a very good thing to have in your life. So if you would just set up an account for your savings, for your savings with your own bank, and set up so it's automatically taken off your paycheck every payday, right? That
Mhm.
way, it's like automatic savings kind of idea. And the funny thing is, though, within a month, within the year, you could have like $500, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, or
And
five
that's
hundred and
and
twenty
that's at
dollars.
10 and that's at $10 a week, right?
Yeah, that's not
So
much,
there's
and it's money
52
for just
weeks. It's
yeah,
it's over $500. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's
if
right.
you can increase that, great, right? If you can double that, you can get to 1,000
Yep.
within a year. And I know that seems like a small amount of savings within a year, but that's your
Mhm.
first year. Get into the habit again for the next year. You'll more than double that because you'll have interest working for you.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you'll more
double
than
income.
double that, especially if you can increase your amount of
Yep.
savings that you're able to put aside.
Yep. Another fun thing you can also do is find a side hustle that also contributes to that, so that
And
you
don't
can
forget, they can review our episode from last week on side hustles
Yep, that's
so that
right.
they
Go
can
check
learn
that out.
ways to try and implement some strategies.
Right on. So one more dad joke before we head out here. Why was the math book sad?
Couldn't count.
No, it had too many problems.
Ha ha ha.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Hardworking Parents Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You can
Ring my
follow.
bell.
Yeah, ring the bell. On the bottom, you'll see follow me on my YouTube channel. And let's go for Instagram as well. All right, guys. So that's all for today. Thank you for being here, and we will talk to you next week. Have a good day.
Take care.